Hi, Chemistry 101 for CCC Online. This is Mr. Dion, and I put together a little slideshow here that talks about how to study chemistry. How do you study chemistry? Oh boy. First, a little bit about me. Here's my email address. In case you ever need to contact me, you can also use the internal messaging feature on D2L. Classes I teach, well, for Colorado Community College Online, I teach Chemistry 101. And for PPCC, which is Pikes Peak Community College, I've taught Chemistry 101, which is the class you're currently enrolled in, Chemistry 102, which is Organic Chemistry and Biochemistry, Chemistry 111, which is General Chemistry 1, and I'm currently a full-time faculty member at UCCS, and there I teach only organic chemistry. So I teach Organic Chemistry 1, Organic Chemistry 2. I also teach some Organic Chemistry labs and a nursing seminar, but that's a whole other thing. Anyhow, so that's a little bit about me and some of the classes I teach. So I've taught over 1,000 students in my career, and I think I have a pretty good idea of what it takes to be successful in studying chemistry. Of course, it's a little bit different for everybody, but I can give you some general ideas. So, section 1.3 in your textbook, learning chemistry, study plan. So it says here, studying in a group can be beneficial to learning. So that's for some people. Some people enjoy studying in a group and they find it works well for them, and they can, get ideas from other students, or maybe they can get answers to questions from other students. And also, I don't think there's anything wrong with studying alone. I think many students prefer to study alone. And in the online environment, I'd say the odds are you probably will end up doing a lot of the work by yourself. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, many students in face-to-face courses, like I just said, will prefer to study by themselves because they find themselves getting distracted. I am one of the people who prefers to study alone, but again, you have to you have to find out what works best for you and then do that. So, a little more about our textbook. So you can see at the bottom here, this is our textbook down here. So this is the textbook that you have, the e-text General Organic and Biochemistry, Timberlake. So this is the textbook that you're going to use for this entire class. And in that textbook, you're going to find all kinds of useful features. Periodic table, different tables, the little looking ahead and glossary and index. Of course, you can use that, especially useful in the e-text where you can just search by word. Key math skills, of course. You got to have strong math skills in any chemistry class, and core chemistry skills. I just want to point out, I mean, this isn't the periodic table that's in your textbook. I just took this one from Google Images. But you should always have a periodic table by your side when you're doing chemistry. Always have to have a periodic table. You're going to need it for atomic masses, for mass numbers, things of that ilk. So anyhow, you always need to have a periodic table with you at all times. All right, chapter readiness. So at the beginning of each chapter in your textbook, you're going to see the key math skills from previous chapters that you're going to need to help you with calculations in that chapter. There's a lot of math in Chemistry 101. There's no way around that. Math will keep coming up over and over again the entire semester. Core chemistry skills from previous chapters related to the current chapter concept. So, of course, chemistry is a cumulative subject in that if you learn something in one chapter, it's going to apply in the next chapter. In fact, it's I think one of the best things about studying chemistry. If you study computers, for example, whatever you learn about computers today, well, in 5 or 10 years, you can, probably less than that, you can be guaranteed that most of that will become obsolete. Whereas in chemistry, something you learn today will almost always be applicable in the future. Next page. So throughout the chapter, there are tools that help you connect the chemical concepts you are learning to real life. So I saw from the introduction discussion and from our first discussion that many people are interested in the healthcare profession. Also, if you're interested in engineering or the environment and clinical applications. So these little sections will help you, kind of relate what you're studying to, what might be a future career goal for you. So what I put down here at the bottom of the slide are two different molecules. The first one, well, anyhow, let me just say a little bit more about these two molecules. Both of these molecules are made from the exact same elements. They're both made from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, but they're two very different molecules. So again, made from the exact same elements, but this molecule over here, this is caffeine that you would get from a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And this one over here that's heroin. So, just because something is made from, certain elements, we can get very, very different reactivity. In this case, very different biological activity. Anyhow, just to kind of mention that, I thought that was kind of interesting. Anyhow, moving on. As you read through the chapter, work through the sample problems and review the visual guide to problem solving. You're going to see this is going to come up over and over. Sample problems. You have to continually work sample problems. And also the analyze the problem feature shows you how to organize the data in some word problems. So if you're a person that really needs help with word problems, you may have difficulty or challenges extracting data from word problems. Those can really help. Those analyze the problems. Anyhow, so a little bit more about sample problems. So it says here, as you read through the chapter, try the questions and problems. I can't stress this enough. You need to try all of the questions and problems. Now you have the answers to the odd questions, and I just took this as a screenshot from your e-text questions and problems for section 1.4, for example. So that's what it looks like, the questions and problems. You need to try as many of these as possible, if not all of them, because the best way to master chemistry is to practice, practice, practice. So after you've read the chapter, then you can try the additional questions and problems and even the challenge problems. So this again is a screenshot that I took from the e-text. So this is what it looks like. I just copied and pasted this in here. So again, the key to mastering chemistry is to practice, practice, practice. So one bit of advice I would give you about these additional questions and problems, and if you want to tackle the challenge problems, would be to sit down and do these as if you're in a testing environment. If you look at the solution, the answer after every problem that you solve, what you're doing is you're leveraging the knowledge from that problem, and you're using it to help you solve the next problem. So what I'm saying is, if you write an exam, after you've done the first question, you may not get the answer to that. So what I'm saying is, if you're writing an exam, your instructor might not give you the answer to every question, or probably wouldn't give you the answer to every question after you write it. So I don't know if that's confusing or not, but basically I would just try all of them before I look at the solutions. What else? At the end of the chapter, besides the additional questions and the challenge problems, there are these things, these chapter reviews. These provide an excellent summary. Okay, the chapter reviews, here we go, where's my pen? Chapter reviews, concept maps, key terms, understanding the concepts. How you use these is going to depend vary from student to student. Some people might find them extremely useful. Other people might not use them quite as much. Some people might make their own chapter reviews and their own concept maps, but you need to find out what works for you. So that brings me to the last slide, which is our second discussion in Module 1. So my study plan for learning chemistry will include the following. And I started to make this slide and I started to write down a few ideas, but I kind of stopped myself and I said, I'm more interested in hearing what my students have to say on the subject. So I'm looking forward to reading your posts in the next discussion.